So talk about your relationship with hip hop today.
Okay. My relationship with hip hop today is it's weird. It's also a love, not love situation, like Delphine said. But I find like at least visually that it doesn't have the same appeal to me as it did when I was growing up, when I was a teenager. When I was like 15 or 16 and watching Video Music Box, I used to see like really creative music videos or stuff that seemed true to the culture or just a representation of what was going on in the culture. And now it just seems like everything is really fake and plastic. And the videos no longer really tell a story. It's more about flaunting, jewelry or cars or now the big thing is liquor. These liquor companies are putting money into videos for them to get made. And now you'll just see like these blatant shots of Nuvo or Ciroc or something else, and it doesn't help the story at all, and it just becomes a big commercial. And I think that's what a lot of hip hop is these days. It's just a commercial for you to go out and buy something else. And I really wish, there are certain artists out there who are making stories and really telling their stories visually as well, but you usually have to go to the underground to find that kind of thing, and it's not very present in the mainstream. And I try, at least in my own work, to tell a story or to convey some type of information, or at least give an example of how the artists themselves are living or what they're doing or what their personality or character is like. But as far as the mainstream is, most stuff is fake. Everybody's the same person. They got the same shots in the video with the crew and the gold teeth, and it's just overboard right now. It really seems like a caricature of what hip hop used to be.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bobbito Garcia is in the house. It's actually a good idea to start with Bobbito. Bobbito is one of the artists that's in the show, and but beyond that, he's a pioneer and a. I'm not gonna get into your bio. I want you to answer that question as someone who's been very much involved in hip hop culture. If someone were to ask you who owns it, what would your reply be?
My gut reaction to the question, which is a deep one, and could be addressed in a lot of different ways, and would be addressed differently 20 years ago than it would now that I'm 45. But I really defer to the judgment of Africa Bambaataa, who I interviewed a number of times in the last 20, 25 years for various causes and reasons. And he once said to me, he said, you know what, Bob, hip-hop, culture, movement, foundation, music has no race to it, has no gender to it, has no assignment. It's open to everybody. And the original tenets of his vision in the 70s was really to be as inclusive as possible as it could be. And for that, he would invite Malcolm McLaren, punk rock from UK up to the Bronx to check out jams, and that was always his. So if we think about deeply and really hold dear his words, then in that respect, then none of us own it. Not you, not I, not Ralph, not the biggest selling artist, not the corporations, nor the kid on the street. It's for everyone to interpret and to respect.
A lot of young people can't separate reality from fantasy when it comes to hip hop music. The same way they can separate reality from fantasy when they're watching a Rambo film. They never think that Sylvester Stallone actually does all of the things that he does in the film. I think it's really creating a lot of problems for teenagers.
Well, I think it's interesting you said it because I was, I guess, blessed to have the opportunity to be like one of the first photographers to photograph Biggie. And, because we lived in the neighborhood, and plus I was doing a lot of work for Puffy or Diddy or whatever you can call it at the time, and Sean Combs. So, but when I was photographing him, you wouldn't believe, like, it was the nicest dude. Like, Biggie was the nicest dude. I mean, you'd be like real nice, like, hey, what's going on, man? Da, da, da. But when it was time to put on the show, he really and he told me, I remember this, he told me, he says, man, when I come out, I'm going to be the biggest, darkest thing on the block. He told me that, you know what I mean? And I was like, word, okay, you know what I mean? I was just taking pictures, because at the time, I didn't know who Biggie was, you know what I mean? I'm sitting in the office, and he's, laughing and joking. He was just a regular guy, you know what I mean? But you know, he said that, you know what I mean? And he knew that that's what he had to do to be able to, you know, to come out and be the best. Because, I mean, you listen to songs like Juicy and you go, all right, yeah, that's a dope song. But then you listen to, you know, any of these other joints that's so hard, and those are the ones that you're like, yeah, yo, that's the one, like, you know. And he knew that for his style, I mean, I'm victim to it too. You know, I love the heart of Biggie joints, you know what I mean? But, and I didn't like Juicy, sorry. But, you know, but those are the ones he knew that his style and his technique, and you know what I mean? And then everybody saw that, and everybody was like, yo, I gotta be like that. And you know what I mean? Just like you said, now it's like all the cameras, everything, the media is everywhere. So like you said, you gotta be that all the time. And then once you start doing that, you just start convincing yourself that that's who you are. You know what I mean? And then like coming off of that, it's like, oh, wait a minute, who am I? Like, am I this other person? You know what I mean? I think that's when a lot of people start going crazy.